All right, welcome back to another episode of the Old Heads Podcast. Oh my God, it's been a little minute, but hey, the Jags winning. It feel good outside. We got a very relaxing and easy topic going on today. Farouk, how you feeling?
I feel good, brother. It's been like 3 months since I've been back, and I'm just excited for the episode today. Got a special guest.
For sure,
Got to hear what she's talking about. So I think we should get right into it.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think the last time I did yoga was like 2 years ago at the YMCA in a beginner course, and I was terrible. I didn't know what was going on. I did it, and I felt like, because I played football all my life, so I thought I was in shape. I thought I was flexible. I stretch all the time still, and I don't even play sports. Every morning I stretch. I won't say every morning, but that's probably a stretch. But I do stretch a lot. I went to a beginner yoga class, and I got exposed. So
a lot of men say that.
So today, I ain't even gonna say, introduce yourself. So who are you again?
I am Ori Lotus, the owner of Ori Lotus Yoga. I'm a Reiki healer, level 2. I curate events, and I just help people elevate into their highest self.
That's
help
what's
them
up.
release, relax.
That's good. So, as far as to the public, what's your definition of yoga?
So I'm gonna go with philosophy first. Okay. So yoga, the root word of yoga is yoke, which means union. So it's a practice of unionizing the mind, body, and the spirit. So yoga, in essence, is just a practice of connecting with yourself, a practice of disconnecting from everything and tuning into your body. Of course, it's stretching, but a lot of people, a lot of men, think it's just stretching. They see it as feminine, you know, and then there's certain positions that some men don't feel comfortable in. You know, you bending over and stuff. But I don't really get that because y'all doing it football, y'all do all kind of stuff. But yeah, so it just means union. It's just unionizing the mind, body, and spirit.
And to you, what is yoga then?
To me, yoga is a spiritual practice. Yoga, it helps me connect with myself on a deeper level. It helps me think clearer. It helps me learn myself. There's 8 limbs of yoga. It's so deep. I just feel like, and even to get into all of it, like we would have to have a lot more podcasts. But I feel like I try to get on my mat. I pray. Like my practice is expensive. So it's not just like yoga to me. You know what I'm saying? Like my space got to be good. Yoga helped me figure out who I am and what it is that I really like, what makes me feel good. So I know that my space is a reflection of myself, my own inner world. So when I'm doing my yoga practice, I like to light some candles, you know, maybe some incense. I like to have my crystals. I love plants. So my practice is just plants everywhere. But yoga it's different for everybody. Like your yoga could be different from my yoga. Like some people, they want to work out. They want to do hot yoga. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to get into the philosophy. They don't care about the, you know. So I don't know. I feel like yoga is my solace.
I think that's pretty dope. I mean, so it seems like your practice of yoga is more realistic, right?
Yes.
It kind of goes around everything. Whereas a lot of men or some people, like you said, probably go and do sports yoga or things that are not probably focused on the mental and the physical.
Yeah, because in the gym, it's different.
Exactly.
My first yoga class was in the gym, though. It was at LA Fitness.
Yeah, they're not doing all that. They're not lighting up candles and doing all that stuff. No. But how did you get into yoga and what made you transition into that? How did that even come about for you? What was the commencement of that?
Yeah, so my first class was in LA Fitness. My doctor, I have scoliosis, so I got like a big S curve in my back. And my doctor told me I need to keep my spine flexible. So I was like, I'm going to try it out. And yoga is supposed to be for flexibility. I think that's what everybody thinks. But after my very first class, the way I felt, I was just like, what is this? Like, I felt like I was floating. Like, you know what I'm saying? I just felt so relaxed, so at peace. And so I started seeking it more. So I started going on YouTube and reading books and just teaching myself. So I was self-taught initially.
Okay.
So after I taught myself, then I was just like, other people got to feel this. Like, why don't people in my community practice yoga? Sure. I don't never see nobody from my hood, doing yoga. So I just started getting my friends. We started meeting in the park. I started teaching free classes. And then that one thing led to another. Then I decided to get certified in 2019. So I started practicing in 2015. I got certified in 2019. And then I started the Goddess Connect. I don't know if we there yet, but
you can go into it as far as the Goddess Connect. I mean, the platform is about business and health. So, the Goddess Connect, what is that? Is that a business? One of the businesses you run, or?
So like I was telling y'all, I wanted to give it to other people, Black women specifically, because of what I went through and how yoga helped me heal. Like it helped me when I was in like a relationship that just pulled the worst out of me, and I didn't want to like put myself in those kind of spaces. So I had to practice meditation. You know, I had to do shadow work. I started freeforming my hair to connect more with spirit, and so going through that, learning about my body, I stopped eating a lot of stuff. You know, so everything that I learned along my journey, I wanted to give to somebody else. So I created She Moves. It started as She Moves. The She stood for support, help, and empower. You know, and so it's all about us getting into our body, working out, eating good, meeting up, you know. And then that went from She Moves to the Goddess Connect. The more spiritual I became, and started seeing who I was. But yeah, and so I started connecting with the women around me first. We created a Facebook group, and we would post like inspirational things in the Facebook group, you know. Then I would start doing mommy and me yoga sessions, and yeah. So the Goddess Connect is a brand, community, and platform dedicated to normalizing normalizing self-care, luxury, and sisterhood amongst melanated women. So we have picnic events. I like to call them litniks. I don't really like to use the word, you know, picnic.
What do you call them litniks? It gets turned.
Y'all be lit.
It gets turned.
That too. It just went. Okay, so picnic. Do y'all know the background of picnic?
I don't know.
Enlighten us.
So it's a little racist, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it comes from racist backgrounds when white people used to put their blankets out to pick their nick.
Oh wow.
You know, and so when I learned that, I know a lot of people don't know that, but it was hard for me to continue to say the word. So it's kind of like my spiritual journey. Like, you learn something, you got to do better. And that's just how I felt. I don't judge people for anything.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So if somebody is at another part in their journey and they saying the word, I ain't going to say nothing. You know what I'm saying? But instead of calling my my event a picnic, I call it a litnic. Because, you be drinking champagne, you know what I'm saying?
Set in the mood.
While doing yoga and all that stuff?
No.
Okay.
At the litniks, we don't do yoga. Okay. But we still, even though we getting lit, it's about healing too.
So what's the litnic? What happens at the litnic?
So at the litnic, I have speakers.
Okay.
We have wine. We have charcuterie.
Okay.
Usually it's a different theme. So the one in last fall, it was a fall equinox theme. We all dressed in fall colors. I had speakers come out there. We had cocktails of sweetness. She sponsored and gave us mocktails and stuff. But it's like we meditate, like we vibe, we connect. We talk about girl stuff. It's really just a safe space for women. Like, because they can unload if they need to. You know, it's just a time for us to really enjoy ourselves in nature.
Okay.
The first one was in the summer, and we dressed in shades of melanin. You know, and it was really nice and stuff. Yeah, and I cooked the brunch and some, yeah.
Okay. So I think that's pretty dope. So I think, you have two things going here. You got yoga, you got the litnic, and it's really focused to a targeted population of minority or black or colored women, you would say. Okay. When I think about yoga and when other people think about yoga, I think there's a different connotation that comes with it. You think, I don't know if I can attain that. Yoga kind of has a connotation with maybe high class or money or some type of affluent lifestyle that most of us say, you know what, I don't have time for yoga because I don't think I can afford it. Like yoga has a price to it. But when you think about yoga, you definitely picture an ideal type of person doing it. So it drives us to the point of, I think it's applaudable that you're doing it and bringing it to light for, minority women and women of color to make sure they know it's attainable and it's a thing that needs to be done. And you're not only sticking to the practice of yoga, but you're tying it into more of a spiritual journey and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So what have those responses been like from your clients or from women or people you worked with?
It's been really good. I feel like women love it. And I feel like women open up to me, kind of like a therapist a little bit. But I feel like part of the reason I started the Goddess Connect, how you mentioned there's a certain type of person that does yoga. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people here, you go to Atlanta, you see black people doing yoga everywhere. But of course, the city is black people. But here, you go to a yoga class and you can be the only black person in the yoga class. And that's how it was in my training. When I got trained in 2019, I was the only white girl. But I was really good at it. And after
You're the only white girl?
I mean, the only black
I
girl.
was about to say, oh, she a shapeshifter. She out here.
No, I love my skin. Nah, I was only black. My bad, y'all. I was only black girl. But after that, I felt some type of way because I reached out to the owner of the studio, and she told me that in order to teach at one of her, so I got trained at Yoga Den. It's like a really popular yoga studio here. They have a lot of them all over. But she was like, in order to teach, I needed to email her to audition to get put on the sub list. And I just felt like I was good enough to give her $2,500 of my money.
Oh.
But when I went to,
Audition. Yeah.
and I just felt like I didn't feel at home. I didn't feel, I didn't feel like I belonged. So another yoga teacher here, she's a white lady and she's so sweet. Her name is Dory. She was following me for a long time. She reached out to me because she liked my energy,
Sure.
and she was just like, I want you to teach in my studio. She didn't make me go through no audition or nothing. She didn't know how I teach, but she felt that
energy.
I would,
Yeah.
and so I appreciated that. So I feel like everything is about alignment. It's about energy. And I feel like the women that I attract to me, it's because of the energy that I have. And so I honor that, you know what I'm saying? Because that's really sacred. So with the Goddess Connect, I created a subscription to create some consistency. So every week they can come to Sensual Yoga on Thursday. That's an in-person class because eventually the subscription is going to be to where it's global, you know what I'm saying, and everything's gonna be virtual. But I got to get more yoga teachers, so they come on Thursdays, and I also the platform is on Patreon. So I post breath work, I post journal prompts, different things that we can talk about, like discussion prompts, So we have that. We have a WhatsApp that we stay connected with, and I feel like it's really good response.
I think that's dope. I know Jarvis and I talk about this a lot, especially in the minority community for women. Being aware of all the trauma that population goes through, whether it may be sensitive topics with sexual assault or domestic violence, all that stuff. Why do you think it's needed yoga, especially your version of yoga? Why do you think it's needed in that community for those for women of color?
My main reason I feel like it's needed because as I was growing spiritually, I started learning a lot about my history.
Mm-hmm.
So I started connecting the dots and seeing why we as black people are a spiritual people. And I just feel like yoga is kind of like therapy when it comes to black people. We don't really talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Just like, we don't do that. That's white people stuff. Or, you know what I'm saying? And I just feel like with what I've learned and how I learned to heal myself through yoga, I feel like if more women of color or melanated women can learn those tools and then take those tools back to their children and then their husbands, we can really heal the black family. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like men only do what women allow them to do. So why not go through the woman? You know what I'm saying? Women need to make up their mind, heal through some shit. You know what
and say, this is what we're going to be doing.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty strategic. That's smart. That's dope.
So
hopefully it works.
so basically what you're saying is yoga truly does contribute to, the health and wellness of real life issues.
The way we eat, the way we think, how, like, if we make assumptions, like our self-esteem, our confidence. Like when we get into the chakra system, we have 7 main chakras in our bodies. Each chakra chakra just means energy wheel in Sanskrit. Okay, let me say this real quick. So a lot of the terms in yoga, they have a Sanskrit background and like a Hindu, Buddhism. So that's why some of us feel like it's a religion or something. But yoga started in ancient Kemet. So it started with us. And then I think like 15th century or something like that, India got it. I ain't gonna say the Indians, but India. And, but yeah, I just feel like it's a practice of returning to ourselves, because we've been pulled so far, from ourselves. And I can't even, like, it helps relationships. Like, it's just like when you go within yourself and start to see yourself as another individual, you can't help but show like empathy and compassion to other people.
But it's like giving yourself some grace.
Definitely a lot of giving yourself grace, because we all is in this, we are all on this human journey. Like,
right.
We're in this experience, and we're never going to be perfect, we're never going to be completely healed, but it's about having those tools. And we as Black people don't really have the tools to really work through like our dark stuff, our emotions, and yoga teaches us to observe. It teaches us to be the observer without engaging or allowing it to control us. So, for example, if you're meditating, a lot of people think they're supposed to stop thinking when they meditate. You're not going to stop thinking. It's like when you tell yourself you're going to stop thinking about something, you be thinking about it more. So it's like the key is to just observe those thoughts. I like to tell my students, imagine your mind is a blue sky, and your thoughts and your obligations and your emotions, all the things are just clouds passing you by. And you take a deep breath and you just stay focused in the moment. Y'all got jobs, y'all got relationships, all the stuff going on, but your yoga practice need to just be for you.
I think that's pretty dope. For me, I've done yoga probably like 2 times. I'm not gonna cap, 2 times, and I've noticed that during that 45-minute or an hour session, like you said earlier, you come out feeling relaxed, like almost like you're levitating. Like a weight's been lifted off your back, right? But for majority of us, we are so fast paced and moving from work to school to job to family to the gym. We don't ever allow ourselves that dedicated 1 hour of winding down and kind of taking yourself away from the dance floor, going to the balcony to kind of observe what's actually going on in my life, what's going on in my relationship, what's going on at work. So I think, like you said, more people probably need to incorporate yoga into their daily lifestyle.
And you don't have to do an hour of yoga. You know what I'm saying? And yoga, you don't have to do poses. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could go on a run and be doing yoga.
What?
You meditating.
So that's
what I'm trying to
explain that.
Yeah, because and before you do, because here's the thing, and I think a lot of people that listen to this episode is gonna can resonate with the question on my ass. So basically, like, again, at the beginning of the episode, how I told you my experience from yoga was these different moves that I was not ready for, and all of these different things. Now, from this episode, I'm getting a whole nother perspective, and we have not talked about a single movement. We haven't talked about how flexible you have to be. So, like Farouk is questioning you, I'm right behind him. What do you mean by a run could be a yoga session? So,
in yoga, as I said, there's 8 different limbs. One of the limbs is asana. So asana just means pose. So when you're doing the poses, there's 8 limbs of yoga, and one of the limbs is asana. So when you're doing asana, you're doing the poses. So doing the asanas help you practice the philosophy of yoga. So when you're doing the poses, you may notice you think certain things, or you may notice you feel something in your body, you ease out of it, you know what I'm saying? It's different stuff like that. But yoga is simply connecting with yourself, right? So some people like to play music, like, you know what I'm saying? Some people write poetry, If you're disconnecting from the world and going within, and maybe you focus on your breath, like, for example, just breathing can be yoga. The main part of yoga is our breath. So that's why I tell my students, they'll come and they be like, I'm not flexible, I don't know how to do that pose, You don't got to know any of that, because first of all, you have a yoga teacher that know what they're doing. But you come because once you start to learn how to use your breath and how to disconnect your mind, the poses is the easy part. You go deeper the more you breathe. But you can be meditating by taking a walk. You can go outside on a walk, count your steps, heel, toe, deep breaths. You know what I'm saying? It don't have to be a yoga pose that you're doing.
So essentially, yoga is simply connecting with the body, not
Movements.
The physical movement. Yeah.
Connecting with your mind.
Connecting with your mind.
Mind, body. We say
mind,
union.
Body, soul.
It's all of that. Yeah, it's connecting. Yeah. So you don't have to be doing the yoga poses. You can be sitting there just breathing and you practicing yoga. Yeah.
So, taking it a step further, what's the difference between meditation and yoga then? Because now I'm just all over the place. You blowing my mind. I'm like, I thought yoga was an exercise, a sport, got a downward dog or whatever they call it. meditation is and you telling me some other stuff. So what are you telling me?
That's
Yoga
facts.
is an exercise, but it ain't a workout. It's a work in. You know what I'm saying? It's an
Mm.
exercise of the mind, the breath. But meditation is just focusing on something, right? So it's like you can meditate on something you want to create, or you can meditate on a flame. You know what I'm saying? Like you can just, it's, how do I put it?
If you had to give a quick sentence that I can't even differentiates yoga and meditation, what would you say?
They're the same.
So yoga and meditation is the same.
Yoga and meditation is the same, but yoga is the practice. So let me see. Meditation is a part of yoga. So let's say yoga is the umbrella, and you got meditation, you got asana,
Oh, okay,
you got the niyamas and the like it's kind of like how we got 10 commandments in Christianity.
Right.
There's rules to govern yourself and how you treat others.
Okay.
There's all
So
these
meditation is one of the single strings of yoga.
Yes. So like
you.
doing your shadow work, learning what you like, that's the part of yoga too. So that's why I be trying to, like, in my yoga classes, I touch on different stuff. I give affirmations, I touch on philosophy. But
That's all part of yoga.
Yeah. Meditation is just shifting your focus.
So Jarvis, the next time I get mad at my boss at work, I'm gonna look at him. Hey, I need a 15. I'm going to yoga.
Period.
I'm about to go do some yoga.
Facts.
I need some yoga. That's crazy.
You recommend it to him, like, bro, you tripping.
Yeah.
You need to go breathe a little bit. So what's up with the let that ish go mantra? Elaborate on that. I know when we were talking offline, you're telling me you want to kind of touch on that.
Yeah, I do. Cause it's everywhere. You see it on stickers, and can I say the word? Oh, no, I can't.
Yeah, you can. Go ahead.
So, and let that shit go. The shit is whatever you're holding that isn't serving you.
Mm-hmm.
So, whether it's an energy, whether it's a person, whether it's something that aggravated you, if it's causing you stress in your body, if it's causing you anxiety, if it's causing you not to stick with your daily habits that helps you, like if it's causing you to miss your meditation, like whatever it is that you're holding on to, it can be trauma. We hold a lot of trauma within our bodies. In relationships, we have trauma and certain agreements that we pick up. It's so many different things, but I feel like letting that shit go helps us be light. Like it helps us to elevate and ascend into ourselves.
Okay. So as far as rituals and astrology, what about that?
What about that? So rituals, you wake up every morning and brush your teeth, right?
Yep.
That's a ritual. Ritual is just something that you repeat that you feel like is good for you. You know what I'm saying? For me, I have new moon and full moon rituals. Rituals don't have to be, you got a doll and you.
I was about to say she talking about voodoo now.
Yeah, no,
She talking about voodoo.
I know we was gonna go there.
You can't have this conversation because you know how we get.
We can go into it though, because it's really called hoodoo. You know what I'm saying? Like it's African spiritual practices.
Is that a part of yoga too?
No, it don't have to be.
I was about to say.
That's a spiritual practice. That's part of my practice. It's kind of like being spiritual. You know how people use sage. Some people use crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some people use tarot, and some people can't stand tarot, but they'll do yoga. They like, tarot evil. Whatever it is for you, I tell people to take what resonates, leave what doesn't.
Boy.
So do, what you drawn to. Don't do it because you see other people doing it and you like, oh, that's spiritual. I should, you know what I'm saying? Even with yoga, if you don't feel called to do it, I feel like everybody need to do a yoga class at least once, but
The right way.
Yeah. I think it's important. One facet that we talk about on the podcast a lot is mental health, right? Especially since the pandemic and COVID and all that stuff happened. But really just in the 21st century, mental health has taken this heightened or elevated front seat in the public eye. Mental health, PTSD, depression. How do you feel like yoga plays into that for people who struggle with mental health or depression or PTSD or anything like that?
I feel like yoga is therapy.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of my students, I met her last year, and she's been coming to my classes. She said she was dealing with anxiety and depression, and she feel like yoga is her safe space, like, help. But I feel like if someone don't want to go to a therapist, like coming to yoga can kind of have like the same effect. They're not talking to me about what they're going through, but they're able to work through the things, and I'm able to talk to them. I pour into my students.
Sure.
So I give them empowering statements, like, like I tell them to give themselves grace. I affirm them. I do different things like that. So I feel like it's definitely good for your mental health.
Now, so two things. Bear with me and let me land the plane. One, can you share with us a story or an example of transformation or healing that's happened in one of your classes? You don't have to share the name of the person or the individual, but maybe the context behind what happened. Have you ever seen a female break down and cry or have some type of a healing or transformation in your class?
Yeah. It actually happened today. I did a group yoga session with a group of girls.
Mm-hmm.
They're on a 21-day self-love journey, and I had the sound bowl, and she had never heard of a sound bowl. She didn't know what it was for. Mm-hmm. And once I started doing it, well, at the end of the session, she was like, I have a question. She was like, with that sound bowl thing, it made me cry, and I want to know why. and I'm like, well, a sound bowl, it connects to our frequencies in our body, so it moves energy. So I'm telling her, I can't tell you exactly why you cried. It brought up something for you. Sure. But I tell them to just honor it. You know what I'm saying? Just release. Crying is healing. So if it made you cry, girl, I'm doing my job. Right? Yeah. But I had one with the guy. Oh my goodness! Now this was my very first situation with somebody crying, and so we did it was a personal yoga session. We did the whole yoga session. At the very end of the yoga session, we breathe, we say our little, namaste and everything. But after we did that, he just started bawling. Like he was like, like crying. And I didn't know what was going on. So I just embraced him. I just gave him a hug.
I know you didn't laugh at him, man.
Huh?
I know you didn't laugh at him.
No. I'm laughing with y'all. I did not laugh at him. No. It was just like, I was so surprised. I don't know why I was so surprised, because I know it brings up things for people. But yeah, it transformed me, y'all. I'm telling you, my old self, I ain't gonna say she was bad.
Okay.
But, you know what I'm saying? I grew up in the hood. So I got another side of me. But I learned that I don't have to be that person that I grew up, you know what I'm saying? Like I felt like even with my person, like the way I handle communication and relationships, all that kind of stuff, I was a little ratchet, I'm still a little ratchet, but I control myself.
It's controlled ratchet. It's controlled ratchetness.
You know what I'm saying?
You still got to pull it out your pocket every now and then.
Do you feel like yoga's eliminated that self, or it's just I don't want to say mask, because that's negative connotation comes with that. Do you think it's just revealed another self for you?
I love that question because I feel like with yoga, it's about learning who you are and balancing your whole being. We have both light and dark within our body, and nothing is good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Society decides what's good or bad, and I feel like with yoga, it's giving yourself grace, but also honoring yourself. Like, so your ego, because our ego can be a bad thing, in certain situations. Can be, you know what I'm saying? But also I feel like it can be helpful. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So people be like, kill the ego. I'm like, what? That makes no sense to me. You can't kill this part of yourself because you need it. But dang, I think I forgot the question.
No, it says, does yoga mask
your
old self or reveal yourself?
So no, it don't mask your old self, because my old self will still come out in certain situations, but I control myself. Okay. So I don't allow people to pull me out of myself. I can handle if I'm getting upset more, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to be classy, I can do that, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like it brings you together. Like, it helps you figure out who your most divine self is, because in yoga, part of the practice is figuring out your dharma. So your dharma is your purpose, your crown, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so sometimes we can't really even get that high because of where we are and what we're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? So you only see one part of yourself, because it's kind of like you're in a relationship, right? With me, I want to be more in my feminine. I want to flow.
Yeah.
But because I'm a Sagittarius and because I am dominant, and oh, we gonna get into that kind. But I feel like I be in my masculine energy a lot, but I don't be wanting to be, but sometimes you have to be.
You need more yoga.
No, I don't. I'm balanced.
Okay.
My masculine is important too.
All right.
But
Okay. Jarvis, we talk about, on this podcast a lot, the social economic aspects of whatever topic we're talking about. So when she was talking about yoga, she's talking about yoga and talking about these classes. And the current one that you did today with those 21 days for those ladies, I can't help but think the downstream effects that this kind of practice can have on the community, in the sense of, if a young woman or woman of color is struggling with depression, mental health, PTSD, anxiety, but doesn't have the resources, financial resources or capital to go seek a mental health professional or go through insurance and do all that stuff, this is something that maybe, I don't know your prices, but I can't imagine costs an exaggerated amount of money, right? No, especially if you can do it pro bono or whatever, taking it into public schools or whatever communities that you go into.
Yeah. It's definitely, I feel like part of why I do it is to make it affordable. At the same time, I have to price my offerings at a certain price, you know what I'm saying, that I feel like I'm worthy of.
Yeah.
But I also feel like a lot of yoga studios, I want to say the right thing, a lot of yoga studios be charging like so much money.
And that's why we don't do yoga.
And you know what I'm saying? It's mostly white people.
You see, that's why we don't do yoga, because I'd look at the price. I'd be like, I'm not paying that. So into the doing yoga, I just kind of fist
even
pumping.
know what I'm doing.
Nah, not even that. I just fist pump in the air. That's my yoga. I just be frustrated.
And see, to pay a lot of money for it, you really got to understand the practice too. Like, you ain't gonna be somebody that don't really know what it is coming in and be like, okay, I'm gonna pay you $1,000 a year to, Yeah.
One thing I really want to ask you though is, so again, you just introduced a whole nother side of yoga to me that I knew kind of was there. I haven't paid much attention to. So my question is, what's the reason for a lot of I don't want to step on any toes. What's the reason for these different yoga instructors and organizations to put a name on a beginner class, an intermediate class, and like an expert class? How does that even relate to what you just said? This entire episode.
So why they put?
Yeah, like what is that? Like, what does that even mean?
So
are they basing it off of the stretches and flexibility, or
usually? So usually beginner, intermediate, advanced, it's based off the flow. So a beginner class, most of my classes are all inclusive, but you will have a beginner class that may be slow.
See, an all inclusive is more so. Oh, I hate to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're good.
But yeah, what I'm saying, I think you just kind of cleared it up for me.
Mm-hmm.
All inclusive don't really have the beginner, intermediate.
No, because like with me, I don't really like, most of my people are beginners, so I'm gonna say that. But I like to do all levels because I can give modifications and progressions. Okay. So if you're an advanced practitioner, I may give you a progression that you can go for. Somebody else may not want to do that because they body, But if you're a beginner, maybe you got knee pain or something, I may give you a modification or give you a yoga prop or something. So I feel like it's accessible to everybody. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm following.
Well, so to kind of, land the ship, pulling the ship to the yards, pull the spaceship down from the stratosphere to Earth.
Speaking my language.
What would you like to tell people in closing about yoga? If you can give someone a 30-minute or 30-second elevator spill about yoga, the history of it, the importance of it, and why I should give a damn to practice this and incorporate it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. What would you say to them?
I feel like yoga is a spiritual practice that will increase anyone's connection.
Spiritual? You just told me it wasn't spiritual.
No, I did tell you it wasn't.
Oh, you said it wasn't religion.
It wasn't religion. I apologize. I feel like it's a spiritual practice that it can increase your connection, even if you're religious. So if you're a Christian or whatever it is, and you want to increase your connection with your highest power, some of us say God, some of us say the universe. It's for everybody to do that. Mm-hmm. And it's also to open the body. It helps with high blood pressure, diabetes. If you need a therapist, you know what I'm saying? Like, yoga is so many
Holistic.
things.
I said holistic.
It's holistic, yes. And I tell everybody just to try a class.
Oh.
Like, if you just try a class, and even with meditation, don't think that you have to do an hour or whatever. You can take 5 minutes in your car and breathe just to connect with yourself. Like, it's taking small moments throughout your day, every day, to dedicate to yourself.
Got you. So if I wanted to take a yoga class, and I wanted to come to you, where would I reach you at? Where can I find you at?
So you can follow me on Ori Lotus Yoga on Instagram.
How do you spell that?
ORILOTUS Yoga. All together, Ori Lotus Yoga on Instagram. On Facebook, if you want reviews for my classes, you can go to Ori Lotus Yoga. It's all together, just like Instagram, no spaces on Facebook. My website is orilotusyoga.com. You can find my events, my classes. I do private sessions, one-on-one sessions, couple sessions.
You just took the next question out of my mouth. Because I'm thinking to myself, well, I tell you, I wonder, there's probably a couple couples who could probably benefit from yoga. With maybe relationship issues or non-communication. You know, if you've been in a relationship for X amount of years or married for 20 years and you want to probably reestablish that.
No,
You
that's
laughing.
real. You
I'm
laughing, but
being dead
I got a service like that.
Go
Let me
ahead.
tell you.
Go ahead. Listen, she hit it before.
Reestablish.
Hey, yoga's gonna do some things that KY Jelly can't do. But go ahead.
It's
Go
gonna
ahead.
rekindle that
I
flame
know I've
for
been
sure.
cheating. I know I've been cheating on you for 20 years.
Yeah, crazy.
Go ahead.
So last year I started an event actually called Intimacy, and it was to help married couples and couples. You know, I had married people there, I had young couples, I had older couples, and it was kind of like, you know what I'm saying, help them with intimacy so they can bond more. So we talked about tantra meditation and tantra yoga, but now instead of doing it as an event altogether, I offer it privately. So I go to couples' homes and I set it up. You know, we do a mini journaling session. So I create questions specifically for them to journal about and talk to each other. So it enhances their communication.
Okay.
And then we do yoga together. I have wine, you know.
Ooh.
You know, I'm not setting the vibes. And I like to do that for my people. I tell y'all, I be in it.
Listen,
Oh, you a vibe setter.
I'm a vibe setter. Perfect word.
Oh, my God.
not a yoga instructor or a vibe setter.
Ooh,
I like that better.
Hold
I
on.
like that.
Let me be messy before we get out of here. Let me be messy.
Go ahead, Farouk. That's
'Cause
your
I-
middle name.
Because I almost busted out laughing that she was saying about the personal session. Have you ever done a session? Obviously, you go to this couple's house with intent to help them with whatever they got going on. And in your journey to help them, it's actually made it worse. Because I can see myself, you know, let's say I wasn't get along with my old girl or my wife, you know, in the future. And you start journaling and you say some messy stuff. I'm about to come back right at you and say some stuff. Like, what do you mean?
So I don't make the journal questions deep like that. Like, I make them loving. Like, you know what I'm saying? We talking about favorite body parts. We talking about love languages. We're talking about what you can do to enhance intimacy with me.
That can still be petty. I don't have no favorite body parts of his. What do you mean of hers?
So that's when she step in and be like, well, you don't need to be on.
Right. I'm saying that depends on the couple. Usually when they doing that part, they be laughing and kicking. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like it works. Some of them end up kissing by the end of the session.
Oh, really?
I be like, I'm not here.
I was about to
I
say,
get them.
you gotta exit the show.
I really do get them space.
Yeah.
Like, I just let them bond with each other.
You
And
tell
it's
me,
beautiful.
I'm
I be like,
Yeah, trying to wrap this up.
no, say the real intimate stuff for the bedroom when I leave.
Right.
But, you know, but it helps get them there.
So you set the appointment for like 8, 9, right when it's time to go and go wrap this thing. Like, we get too. This the old heads podcast.
No. I want to answer the question because I'm pretty sure people are inquiring about this question.
I ain't coming to nobody's house at 9 o'clock, but I usually do like 6:37. You know what I'm saying? It usually be towards the evening. I do morning though too.
All right. Well, you know, for anyone watching, if you're going through some stuff at home, it's okay.
It is.
Visit the website, connect on Instagram.
Hit me up.
But even on the more personal stuff or the more serious stuff, anyone just going through mental health or just wants to reveal more of themselves, the yin and yang, please go to the lovely website and connect with the lovely lady. Jarvis, what do you have to say, man?
A lot of people can't even navigate. They spend more time on Instagram, so you can find her on Instagram as well. Your Twitter?
Mm-mm.
No.
I got Twitter, but I don't use it that much.
Okay. Instagram, the website.
Facebook.
Facebook Ori Lotus.
And I'm gonna let her have the last one. You haven't covered anything we didn't cover today.
Let's see.
Or can you take us through a yoga session? Just a quick 5 seconds.
Oh, I can.
Let's
We're
do
gonna
that.
take it through deep
Set the
breaths.
vibes.
Okay.
Set
bet.
the vibes.
So sit up straight in your seat. Relax your hands on your knees, palms facing up. We're receiving energy. Yeah. Close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. We're going to inhale into our nose and exhale out of our nose. But I want you to slow your breath. Inhale for a count of 5. And then slowly exhaling for a count of 5. Relax your shoulders. Release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Relax your face. Take 1 more deep inhale. And as you exhale, release it out of your mouth.
All right, that's it.
Good.
I almost fell asleep. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I'm feeling good.
Hey, thank you for everyone that tuned into the show. Hopefully you got something out of it.
If you didn't, you never mind.
Hopefully you know more about yoga, the history of it, the current state of it, the practice, and all that stuff.
Oh, on my YouTube.
And go ahead, shout your YouTube
Follow
out.
my YouTube so I can create more content for y'all.
And what's the name of YouTube?
Ori Lotus Yoga.
That's a bet.
Spell it one more time. You know, a lot of people.
ORILOTUS Yoga.
And like we tell everybody on every episode,
Make sure
you always
stay in your lane.
stay in your lane.